Good day, class. My name is Adrian Sykes, and my presentation for Psych 640, Organizational Development and Effectiveness, is about coaching, which is an individual intervention strategy. The objectives of this presentation is to discuss an overview of coaching. My objective is to also discuss evidence-based sources on coaching, providing analysis of findings, illustrating the pros and cons of the use of coaching as an intervention strategy. Finally, based on the evidence, I will give recommendations of the use of coaching as an intervention strategy by OD practitioners. My overview of coaching includes the history of coaching and how it became a profession. Most importantly, what is the purpose of coaching as an intervention and who or what are the target elements of coaching. According to Blackburn 2025, the word coach can be traced back to the 15th century to multiple languages from French, German, and Hungary. The word coach originated from a place in Hungary called Koch, Kottmann et al. 2021, or the Hungarian word koch, which means carries, where the first coach was used, Blackburn 2025, Elitis 2023. It meant to carry someone through hardship by providing guidance or advice, Blackburn 2025. Coaching was also used in the sports field during the 1860s, Blackburn 2025, and was a full-time job helping athletes to improve skills and performance, Stone 2002. Kottmann et al. 2021 states that the word coach was used in connection to sports into the 1970s. According to Stone 2002, today's view of coaching comes from the field of adult development of the 1950s. Works related to human development by Freud, Adler, Jung, and Erikson in the reframing of one's thinking in developmental psychology was to assist a person to grow and succeed in therapy, Stone 2002. Thus, coaching had a close connection to personal development and growth. According to Koopman et al. 2021, Sheen used the term process consulting, describing coaching as a helping relationship between client and consultant, which became useful to the business field. Timothy Gallwey, who mostly was interested in the individual athlete as a person, wrote an influential book regarding the subject matter in 1974, Koopman 2021. According to Blackburn 2025, the coaching profession was started by Thomas Leonard in the 1980s, and it was popularized by key figures such as Professor David Clutterbuck, Timothy Gallwey, Sir John Whitmer, who is known as the father of modern-day coaching methods. Sir John Whitmer developed the model of coaching known as GROW, which stands for Goal, Reality, Options, and What. Blackburn 2025, Kamarudin et al. 2020. Anderson 2024 defines coaching as an intervention used to improve personal, interpersonal, or skill set, or to bring about some personal change, or to achieve a goal. The purpose of coaching is basically similar to the definition of coaching, which is to increase effective performance of an employee through guidance and help. It is an increased performance through unlocked potential. Kamarudin et al. 2020. It is the process of facilitating self-directed problem solving or change, which is its purpose to develop self-efficacy in an employee to develop the skills, abilities, and knowledge KSAs through guidance to become more effective in one's performance or job, Stone 2002. Hence, developing an employee's ability to improve their performance through one-on-one intervention is the purpose of coaching. This brings us to the main target elements of coaching, which are mostly individuals. Coaching is targeted at an individual within an organization. Examples include executives within an organization who are coached to improve their leadership skills or managers who provide one-on-one coaching to their staff to improve performance. The three sources of evidence-based studies that discuss and examine the effectiveness of coaching include Borza et al. 2022, an experimental study that examines the context in which coaching and the motivation of a coachee who receives coaching based on the coachee's perspective of the intervention can be either developmental or remedial. A meta-analysis regarding coaching outcomes was done by Jones et al. 2015, which examines the kinds of coaching factors that influence the effectiveness of workplace coaching. Lastly, a quasi-experiment by Boza et al. 2014 discussed the academic background of coaches and their effectiveness on a coachee. Boza et al. 2022 examined if the coachee's perception of the reason for the intervention was developmental or remedial, which would impact the effectiveness of the coaching intervention. Participants were first tested through surveys on pre-coaching motivation, either developmental or remedial, regarding coaching context. Once the pre-coaching motivation of the participants were obtained, participants were given scenarios that were either developmental or remedial regarding the reason for coaching. Regulatory theory states that an individual is motivated by two perspectives, develop, either development or promotion, or self-preservation or preventative. Higgins, 1997, as cited in Boza et al. 2022. These two variables are important to the effectiveness of coaching, according to Boza et al. 2022, because it demonstrates how feedback and framing influence the coaching experience. Boza et al. 2022 hypothesized that with regards to coaching, context impacts upon pre-coaching motivation, that coachees with a developmental coaching context would report higher levels of pre-coaching motivation as compared to coachees in a remedial coaching context. Also, a developmental coaching context will prime coachee situational promotion focus, as opposed to a remedial coaching context or focus, which will prime coachee situational prevention focus. Baggio et al. 2022. Results demonstrated that hypothesis 1 and 2 were both supported. By conducting an independent sample t-test, the participants in the developmental scenario showed a higher level of pre-coaching motivation than those participants on the remedial scenario. With regards to coaching context, participants in the developmental coaching were more primed towards promotion focus than the remedial who were more prevention focused. Baza et al. 2022. Hence, depending on the coaching context, developmental or remedial, coaching can have a positive impact on employees as an intervention strategy. The purpose of the study was to examine Effectiveness of Workplace Coaching Synthesizing Existing Research, Jones et al., 2015. 17 studies were examined using several evaluation criteria that included effective cognitive skill-based and results coaching outcomes, according to training literature using Kirkpatrick 1967 models and the results level for evaluation, and Kruger et al. 1993 learning outcomes model, as cited within Jones et al. 2015 study. The criteria are as follows: effective, cognitive, skill-based, and results outcomes. The coaching methods factors are the use of multi-source feedback, delivery format, internal versus external coaching, and longevity of the coaching intervention. So the hypothesis within the meta-analysis can be found on the left, whilst the results can be seen on the right. Results were obtained by searching in bases such as ProQuest, EBSCO, and JSTRO Business, Sage Journals Online, and others. Articles were coded according to certain criteria, and a random effects model was utilized. Jones et al. 2015. Results showed a positive effect for all coaching outcomes. Jones et al. 2015. More specifically, there was no effect on coaching effectiveness with regards to research design within subjects versus between subjects. In addition, coaching was found to be more effective without multi-source feedback. Like the previous study, more feedback, especially negative feedback, produced less effective coaching impact. Also, there was no difference found for coaching format. Workplace coaching has an overall positive effect as an intervention strategy. In a quasi-experiment, Bowser et al. 2014 examines the relationship between coaching education, mainly in psychology, and credibility with executive coaching effectiveness. Bowser et al. 2014 hypothesized that coaches of coaches with an academic background in psychology will receive better outcomes due to an increase in self-awareness and job performance. They were they also hypothesized that the coach's credibility will positively be related to coaching outcomes as reflected in greater individual outcomes. Bowser et al. 2014. Results demonstrated partial support for hypothesis 1, in which the coach's academic background improved the success of the coaching outcomes. There was also some support for hypothesis 2 with respect to credibility being positively related to coachees' self-reported job performance and trustworthiness of the coaching experience. Analysis from these three studies demonstrate some similarities of findings regarding coaching as an intervention strategy. All three sources had an overall positive effect for coaching outcomes. Even those coaches who were prevention focused on the regulatory foresight can benefit if coaching strategies are used correctly. According to Bowser et al. 2022, one way to impact the coaching experience for those employees with a tendency toward prevention foresight is to introduce coaching as a growth benefit for all employees rather than concentrating on the remedial needs when using coaching interventions. Also, having an academic background in psychology may assist with the credibility and effectiveness of the coach to the experience by the coachee, increasing levels of trustworthiness and respect for the coach's expertise. Bowser et al. 2014. Although coaching as an intervention has its pros, there are still cons that need to be further studied and understood. As mentioned, remedial usage of coaching for certain employees will elicit negative responses due to negative feedback or a negative perception of the need for coaching. Bowser et al. 2022. Employees who receive negative feedback with respect to their performance from managers or other sources, such as a multi source feedback mechanism, i.e., 360 multi source feedback, may respond to coaching negatively, especially if they are preventative regulatory focused. Basel et al. 2022. Lastly, external coaches may not be as effective in dealing with organizational culture or be able to help a coach navigate the political terrain of an organization, which makes an internal coach more suitable in this case. Jones et al. 2015. However, any coaching impact could still be beneficial to a struggling employee who could use assistance in career choices or other developmental endeavors. My recommendations is that coaching should be used by OD practitioners, and it could be an effective intervention when used appropriately. Coaching should be used mostly for developmental purposes instead of remedial. However, when used as a remedial strategy to improve performance, OD practitioners should consider the impact of feedback and the context of receiving coaching on the coachee. According to Barzer et al. 2022, the focus of loci for a coachee will impact coaching outcomes. For example, if a coachee has a more preventative or security focused perspective, then the coaching outcome will be less effective. When used in a developmental context, coaching can lead to improved emotional intelligence, such as self awareness, self efficacy, self regulation, as well as career and personal development. Basel et al. 2022 and Basel et al. 2014. Lastly, internal coaching may be best for employees to receive the benefit of navigating organizational politics and culture, Jones et al. 2015, although external coaching is still beneficial overall. Here are my references, more references, and thank you for listening.